There is a quiet power in the man who does not shout to be seen, a strength that cannot be measured by wealth, charm, or the applause of others. It is forged in silence, in discipline, and in the mastery of oneself. We have all felt the sting of chaos, the pressure of opinions, and the weight of expectation. And yet, some men move through it all untouched, magnetic in ways others cannot explain. What separates them is not circumstance. Habit 1. The power of emotional immunity. There is a silent warfare that every man faces daily. It is not fought with swords, wealth, or words, but within the unseen chambers of the mind. Every insult, every slight, every betrayal, the world constantly tests us. Most men break, lash out, or seek revenge. High-value men, however, cultivate what the Stoics called apatheia, a mastery over destructive emotions. They build an immunity, not to numbness, but to clarity, resilience, and purpose. Epictetus, once a slave bound by circumstance, taught that it's not what happens to you, but how you react that matters. Consider this. Every man you encounter has the power to provoke you, but only if you allow him. A high-value man understands this truth so deeply that he walks through provocation untouched. He feels, but he does not succumb. He observes, but he does not react unconsciously. He transforms every potential attack into a mirror, reflecting only what he chooses to see. The habit of emotional immunity is not learned in comfort. It is forged in the trials of life. In the moments when someone insults you, when betrayal stings, when failure humbles you. In those moments, the high-value man pauses, he breathes, he assesses, he decides. And in that decision lies his power. Because while others are driven by outrage, he acts with precision. While others are consumed by jealousy, he remains patient, knowing life unfolds as it must. The great Marcus Aurelius reminded himself, if someone does wrong, it is because of their weakness, not yours. The high-value man internalizes this. He does not feed the weakness of others, he strengthens himself. We live in a world obsessed with reactions, immediate, emotional, performative. But true influence, true attraction, is born in restraint. People are drawn to the man who does not flinch at insult or temptation. They are captivated by the calm center in the eye of life's storm. This is not charisma born of vanity. It is the quiet power of a mind trained to endure, to observe, and to act only when it matters. Emotional immunity is a habit that elevates a man from ordinary to irresistible, from reactive to unshakable. How do we build it? The Stoics offered clear guidance. Seneca wrote, "No man is more unhappy than he who never faces adversity, for he does not know the strength that lies within." To cultivate immunity, one must practice discomfort intentionally. Face minor irritations without complaint. Observe provocation without retaliation. Reflect on insults and failures, not as attacks, but as lessons. Each moment of restraint strengthens the inner fortitude, much like a sword forged in fire becomes sharper and stronger. The high-value man does not seek to control the world, only his response to it. He recognizes that power is fleeting, but character is eternal. By practicing emotional immunity, he becomes a force others cannot manipulate. He commands respect without demanding it. He walks through social storms untouched because his center is unshakable. And in this mastery, he becomes magnetic, not for appearances, but for the depth of presence he embodies. We must embrace this habit not as a technique, but as a philosophy. Let every insult, every setback, every provocation become an opportunity to practice restraint, to reinforce discipline, to test our inner steel. Each moment is a choice, succumb or rise. The man who rises consistently, who cultivates emotional immunity as a daily ritual, embodies a power so profound it is unmistakable. People feel it, even if they cannot name it. Life bends, not in fear, but in acknowledgement of the man who does not bend himself. In truth, emotional immunity is not about isolation or detachment. It is about discernment. It is about valuing our inner world above the noise outside. It is about cultivating a presence that radiates confidence and stability, which others naturally recognize as high value. Every moment we choose clarity over reaction, patience over rage, and observation over impulsiveness, we fortify the invisible fortress that makes us unshakable. This is the third habit that silently elevates a man beyond the ordinary. Master your mind, cultivate relentless discipline, and develop emotional immunity. And you do not need to proclaim your value. The world will recognize it. You do not need to chase validation. It will gravitate toward you. In this triad of habits lies the quiet, unstoppable force of a high-value man.
Habit 2. The art of strategic silence. There is a power in words, and yet there is an even greater power in their absence. Every man speaks, but few understand the weight of restraint. High-value men do not rush to fill silence with noise. They recognize that control over one's words is control over perception, influence, and even destiny itself. Marcus Aurelius, reflecting on life's trials, reminded himself, "Be silent, or speak only when your words are better than silence." This is the essence of strategic silence, a habit that quietly distinguishes the exceptional from the ordinary. In our world, impulsive speech often undermines character. Arguments are lost not to intellect, but to haste. Reputations tarnished not by truth, but by careless expression. High-value men understand that the tongue is a double-edged sword. Every spoken word has consequence, yet too often we surrender to immediate gratification, the urge to react, to prove, to dominate conversation. Strategic silence, however, is cultivated discipline. It is a conscious refusal to surrender to the pull of emotion. Epictetus instructed that we have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak. A man who listens first, speaks last, and chooses his moments carefully is immediately elevated in presence, authority, and attraction. Silence is more than avoidance. It is a form of observation. When we withhold reaction, we gain insight. We see motivations that are hidden in the noise of others' impulses. We detect truth beneath deception, patience beneath aggression, and weakness beneath bluster. This observational power transforms interaction into strategy. High-value men rarely need to argue to assert dominance. Their mere composure, their refusal to be drawn into chaos, signals strength. People sense it. They may not understand it consciously, but it resonates at a level deeper than words, a vibration of calm, unshakable authority. Furthermore, strategic silence protects the mind from unnecessary turmoil. Every argument, every complaint, every gossip drains vitality. By choosing silence, the high-value man preserves energy for what truly matters: action, growth, and resilience. Seneca warned that it is the power of the mind to be unconquerable if we guard it against external disturbances. In practicing silence, we safeguard our mental and emotional territory. We refuse to be manipulated by the opinions or provocations of others. We cultivate an inner fortress unassailable by triviality or envy. This is the silent magnetism of high-value men, a presence felt, respected, and most importantly, unconquered. The habit of strategic silence also amplifies influence. Words become scarce and therefore potent. When a high-value man speaks, his statements carry weight. Every word is deliberate, every idea impactful. He does not need to shout to be heard. The quiet authority of his mind communicates louder than volume ever could. Others are drawn to him, not by charm alone, but by the gravity that silence bestows. The world subconsciously reveres those who control not only their actions, but their voice, because it signals mastery over self, which is the true measure of value. To implement this habit, one must practice vigilance. Observe your impulses to react. Measure the necessity of your speech. Embrace moments of tension as opportunities to cultivate restraint. Let the world rush to fill the air with noise while you anchor yourself in calm. Let the chaos of emotional eruptions swirl around you without disturbing your inner equilibrium. Each deliberate pause, each conscious choice to remain silent fortifies the high-value man's presence and strengthens his character. Strategic silence is not weakness, it is wisdom. It is not avoidance, it is preparation. It is not disengagement, it is deliberate, intelligent control over influence and perception. Every man who masters this habit stands apart, radiating confidence that no display of vanity can replicate. His attraction is quiet but undeniable, his power invisible but absolute. By embracing the art of silence, we elevate ourselves above mediocrity, commanding respect without demanding it, and achieving influence without aggression. This is the fourth habit that defines high-value men, the mastery of words through strategic silence. Control what you speak, observe what you do not, and remain impenetrable in composure, and the world will notice. The extraordinary does not need to announce itself. It is recognized by the calm authority it exudes, the deliberate restraint it embodies, and the quiet power it commands.
Habit 3. The relentless pursuit of self-mastery. True value is never inherited. It is earned through disciplined action and unwavering dedication to self-mastery. The high-value man does not rely on appearance, wealth, or external validation. Instead, he cultivates an inner fortress, a mind trained to endure, a body trained to resist, and a soul disciplined to remain unshaken by the chaos of life. Marcus Aurelius, the Stoic emperor who ruled not only an empire, but his inner world, taught, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This principle is the cornerstone of self-mastery and the ultimate habit that elevates a man above the ordinary. Self-mastery begins with understanding the nature of destructive impulses. Anger, envy, fear, and lust are natural, yet unchecked, they erode character and drain influence. High-value men recognize these impulses as tests, not obstacles. They learn to observe their emotions without surrendering to them, a practice the Stoics called apatheia, freedom from destructive passions. Epictetus emphasized that it's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. Every instance of restraint, every moment of deliberate action over impulsive reaction strengthens the inner core of the man. But self-mastery is not merely about emotion, it is about action. A high-value man disciplines his body, training it to endure fatigue, pain, and discomfort. He cultivates habits that reinforce resilience, waking early, exercising rigorously, and pursuing challenges others avoid. Physical discipline mirrors mental discipline. The two are inseparable. Seneca once reflected, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it. Life is long if you know how to use it." By mastering the physical self, we command energy, presence, and stamina that others unconsciously respect and admire. Equally important is mastery of time. High-value men are ruthless with distractions. Social media, gossip, meaningless arguments, and shallow interactions are minimized or eliminated. Time is the currency of influence.
Every wasted hour is a missed opportunity to refine the mind, strengthen the body, or cultivate meaningful relationships. By guarding time as fiercely as a fortress, a man signals that he values himself and the outcomes he seeks. This habit alone distinguishes the disciplined from the indulgent, the extraordinary from the mediocre. Self-mastery also requires the courage to face truth, the harsh reality of one's limitations, mistakes, and weaknesses. Many flee from self-reflection, preferring comfort over growth. High-value men embrace discomfort as a mirror, revealing where improvement is needed. They ask the hard questions. Am I honest with myself? Am I avoiding responsibility? Am I living in alignment with my principles? By confronting these truths daily, they chip away at weakness, forging an unyielding character that draws respect and authority naturally. Moreover, mastery over self fosters emotional independence. A high-value man does not seek approval or validation externally. He is impervious to the praise or criticism of others. His decisions are guided by principle, not popularity. The Stoics taught that virtue alone is sufficient for happiness. By anchoring identity and worth in inner excellence rather than external acknowledgement, he radiates confidence, calm, and magnetism, qualities that make attraction effortless. People sense the integrity of a man who is whole within himself, and it inspires trust, admiration, and loyalty. Finally, self-mastery is a relentless pursuit that is lifelong. It is not a goal achieved once, but a journey embraced daily. Each decision, each habit, each challenge overcome contributes to the compound growth of character. High-value men understand that life's storms are inevitable, but mastery over self ensures that they remain steadfast, unshaken, and poised, even when chaos surrounds them. This resilience is magnetic. It is the quiet signal that a man has control over his inner world and therefore influence over the outer world. In essence, the fifth habit of a high-value man is the relentless pursuit of self-mastery. It demands discipline over body, mind, time, and emotion. It requires facing uncomfortable truths, eliminating distractions, and embracing discomfort as fuel for growth. And above all, it anchors worth in virtue and principle rather than external approval. By cultivating self-mastery, a man becomes unshakable, magnetic, and inexorably high value, a presence that commands attention without effort and inspires respect without demand.
Habit 4. The discipline of strategic silence. High-value men understand a truth that the world rarely admits. Words are powerful, but restraint is stronger. Speaking is easy. It requires no effort, no strategy, no self-command. Yet the truly influential, the quietly magnetic, understand that silence is a weapon, a shield, and a source of inner strength. Marcus Aurelius reflected, "Be silent, or let your words be better than silence." This lesson forms the foundation of strategic silence, a habit that distinguishes the high value from the mediocre. Strategic silence begins with the mastery of emotion. The impulsive man speaks to vent, to seek approval, to assert dominance. The high-value man speaks with purpose, only when it serves clarity, influence, or necessity. Anger, irritation, envy, these are not excuses to speak, but signals to pause. Epictetus taught that no man is free who is not master of himself. By restraining the tongue, a man demonstrates mastery over his emotions, converting potential vulnerability into undeniable strength. People sense this calm, this self-possession, and are drawn to it unconsciously. Silence also cultivates perception. By listening, observing, and reflecting, the high-value man gains insight others miss. He perceives motives, discerns character,
and detects opportunities before they manifest. He does not rush to respond or overexpose himself. Instead, he absorbs, analyzes, and acts with precision. Seneca once remarked, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak." Every moment of strategic silence enhances judgment, sharpens intuition, and elevates influence. The man who speaks less often commands more attention when he chooses to speak. Furthermore, silence acts as a shield against manipulation. Words spoken impulsively can betray intentions, emotions, and weaknesses. The high-value man shields his inner world, revealing only what serves his purpose or aligns with his principles. By doing so, he prevents exploitation and preserves autonomy. The Stoics taught that external events cannot harm the wise man unless he allows them to touch his inner citadel. Strategic silence ensures that few can penetrate that citadel, making him untouchable in negotiation, conflict, and social dynamics. Silence also fosters patience, a rare and magnetic quality. In a world of instant gratification and hasty reactions, the man who waits, who deliberates, who speaks only when it is advantageous, stands apart. The ability to delay response, to measure words, and to let situations unfold without interference signals control, foresight, and self-respect. People instinctively recognize this strength, and it breeds natural authority without effort. Equally important is the cultivation of presence. The high-value man does not fill empty space with meaningless chatter. His silence allows his presence to speak louder than any words could. In a room of noise, he is the calm, the still point, the eye of the storm. This presence commands attention, fosters respect, and instills influence quietly, effortlessly. Others sense his value not because he boasts, but because he has mastered the art of measured speech. Finally, strategic silence enhances self-reflection. The high-value man does not speak to impress. He speaks to express truth, principle, and insight. By holding his tongue, he cultivates internal dialogue, considering values, intentions, and actions before exposing them to the world. This constant self-examination aligns behavior with virtue, the ultimate measure of worth according to the Stoics. Marcus Aurelius advised, "Look well into thyself. There is a source of strength which will always rise if you will always look." Silence creates space for this reflection, transforming impulsive men into deliberate, principled, and magnetic leaders. In essence, the discipline of strategic silence is a hallmark of the high-value man. It demands control over emotion, patience in action, awareness in observation, and reflection in thought. It elevates presence, cultivates respect, and preserves autonomy. Through silence, the high-value man becomes unshakable, magnetic, and quietly commanding. A force felt more than seen, respected more than heard, and valued more than understood. This is the power of restraint, the subtle, invisible habit that shapes men into icons of influence without arrogance, masters of life without display, and high-value men without effort.
Habit 5. The art of emotional immunity. High-value men move through the world like unshakable pillars, unaffected by storms that topple others. This is not born from arrogance, luck, or brute force. It is cultivated through a single disciplined practice: emotional immunity. To master oneself is the highest form of power. As Epictetus stated, It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters. The high-value man does not allow external events, opinions, or provocations to dictate his inner state. He is the calm eye at the center of every chaos. Emotional immunity begins with recognition. The man who becomes high value understands that most suffering is self-inflicted, arising from attachment to outcomes, the judgments of others, or fleeting desires. Marcus Aurelius warned, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." By internalizing this, the high-value man cultivates detachment, observing life's turbulence without succumbing to its pull. He allows emotions to arise, but he does not dwell. He feels, evaluates, and responds with deliberate control. This immunity is fortified through self-discipline. The high-value man trains his mind as a warrior trains his body. He anticipates challenges, critiques, and provocations, preparing himself to remain unshaken. Anger, envy, fear, and disappointment become tools for introspection rather than weapons against him. Seneca advised, "We are more often frightened than hurt, and we suffer more in imagination than in reality." By internalizing this, the high-value man develops a mental fortress where no insult or misfortune can penetrate without his consent. Emotional immunity also transforms relationships. The man who is unshakable commands respect naturally. Others sense that his approval is neither easily won nor easily lost. He interacts without desperation or clinging, fostering attraction rooted in stability rather than performance. People are drawn to him because he does not rely on their validation, yet he offers theirs with discernment. He gives attention, loyalty, and care strategically, creating magnetic balance between availability and mystery. Moreover, emotional immunity enhances decision-making. The man who is unbound by impulsive reactions perceives reality clearly, even under pressure. He does not act from fear, anger, or desire. He acts from reason. When confronted with challenges, he evaluates with clarity, discerns with precision, and executes with unwavering confidence. Epictetus said, "The essence of good is a certain disposition of the mind." This disciplined disposition allows him to navigate life's uncertainties without hesitation or regret. This habit also cultivates resilience. The high-value man is not untouched by adversity. He is prepared to endure, to learn, and to rise stronger. Obstacles are not setbacks but lessons, and pain is not punishment but a teacher. By embracing life without resistance, he transforms suffering into wisdom. Marcus Aurelius reflected, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." Emotional immunity turns barriers into stepping stones, ensuring progress even when the world conspires against him.
If this video spoke to you, if it stirred something deep inside, then don't let it fade into the noise. Subscribe now and join us in building the kind of strength that cannot be shaken, the kind of calm that commands respect. Hit that bell, because here we don't chase distractions, we forge mastery. We embrace self-control, and we rise above the chaos. The journey doesn't stop here. Stay with us and become unstoppable.